are you guys doing today? So today I'm going to show you guys how to regen a truck. Now you are going to need some type of scan tool to do this, like the Peterbilt 567s. They have no button that you can hold down and manually put it in regen. So I do it every once in a while with the computer. Now I'm going to go through it and kind of show you kind of all the stuff that you're going to need and all that stuff. So the first thing you're going to need is one of these. Okay, it's a Nexus IQ. This is just, allows the stuff to talk to. USB cable. Alright, get all this hooked up over here. Okay, so we got that. You want to see that this is connected properly. Alright, now let's turn it on here. And so what you have to do is turn the truck on to just not running, but turn it on. Now you go to connect. Okay, and this takes a couple seconds to get popped up on here. This is the computer that I got. It's just a whole bunch of different software. I use the Cummins software for this. Like if you're using a PACCAR, you're going to have Davy 4. Detroit, you'll have to have Detroit, and Caterpillar, you have to have Cat. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. There's only Cat, Cummins, and PACCAR. International, I'm sure you have to have that too. So what this does is this creates a work order every time. I fucking hate it. It takes fucking forever. So while that work order is creating, what I'm going to do is go ahead and start the truck. Okay, now one thing you have to do is you have to let it come off engine protection mode, okay? So like if it's cold outside or whatever, this will rev up and, like it'll be up here about the 800 RPM range, okay? Now the first thing I do is I always check the fault codes. We got no fault codes in the ECM. Now where you want to go is right here to Ecm Diagnosed Test. Okay, click this. Okay, and then it has after treatment particulate regen. It has a whole bunch of this stuff you can do, cylinder cutout test, a whole bunch of other stuff. We can get into that later, but this is just a regen. Now you hit that, you come down here, you hit next. Okay. Alrighty. Now, you can go to help here. This kind of tells you about the regen. If this is the first time you ever regen the truck, read this, okay? Just so you understand the rules, okay? Now, there is no downside. You can see here, you can make it so the driver has a deactivation test, It has a whole bunch of crap here, but we're not interested in that. So, what you want to do is you want to hit start. Now you want to make sure the truck's in neutral. This is outside, keep a fire extinguisher nearby, all that type of shit. And then you hit yes, you make sure you got no tools, dirty shit all around. Alright, and then it's going to go into its after treatment here. Now, this takes about an hour and 15 minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to come back to it in a little bit. What I suggest is as soon as you get the trucks, I want you to regen the trucks within a couple days of having the truck, okay? If you have this computer. You can use the Snap-on scanner, a couple different scanners, or you can buy factory hardware, which I suggest buying the factory hardware if you have a huge fleet. You're going to need some sort of computer. Trust me. You wouldn't think you do, you do. So what this is going to do is this is going to come up. This says not dosing. That means the injector is not dosing. Our particular filter soot is normal. For some reason, they always say normal even when they're clogged up. I fucking don't know. And we're going to watch this. What you want is the intake temperature and the outtake temperature to be about the same. See how this is a 100-degree difference? When we come back here in a couple minutes, you're going to see that this is different. And this is going to get up to about, the highest I've ever seen it is about 1,050 degrees. When they're really dirty, I've seen 1,100 in a Cummins. Not very much. With this 2017 emission standards, it's kind of right in that range. It'll take a little bit to get everything warmed up. You know, it'll take a little bit to get all the coolant and stuff. And then this will regen. Like I said, it takes about, you know, an hour and 15 minutes. But what you really want to watch, you know, is we can go into data logging and watch some different stuff. I'll show you that at a later time. But, you know, that's all you got to do. You have all your stuff hooked up, bing, bing, boom. Got your computer on there, and you just basically be patient. So that's what we got going on there. I'm going to let this warm up a little bit. I'll get back to you guys in a little bit. Okay, YouTube, you can see that we let this warm up a little bit and see how our temperatures are coming up. This one's a little dirty. It's going to take a little bit. But also what I recommend is when you first get a truck, come over here to this data logging thing. Let me get situated here. Okay, now what we're under is a stationary regen, so click this button. Okay, and this tells us that we are dosing. This kind of tells you what all your fuel pressures are at. You know, we've used 502 gallons of DEF treatment. Your catalyst, this is pressure differential at 0.52. That's nothing. Our voltage is good. You know, our intake temperature is 904. You know, just kind of what I recommend doing is just watching this. See, our outlet temperature is still a little bit behind. Eventually, that'll catch up. It tells us that we're doing everything right. Our NOx intake is 100 parts per million. Corrected is 105. The NOx table, it's reading stable. This is all just kind of stuff. You know, now after treatment, we're kind of down. After treatment outlet SCR, this kind of just gives you a little bit more stuff. Now what you want to do is just kind of read this stuff, just so you know, like we've driven 7,000 miles or 72,000. I just got this truck beginning of this year, or like in March. You can see 72,000, that's a lot. Our EGR per this thing is not open at this particular point. Our coolant level is good. Oil pressure, oil temperature, tells us our idle speed. There should tell us like turbo shit. Yeah, here's our common rail fuel pressures. So what I do is when I first got this, I kind of went through these and I kind of know where it's supposed to be. Right now, there is no numbers out here that are sticking out to me. You know, like our turbo actuator is about 86%. It'll fluctuate between about 80 and 90%, so that's fine. This tells our intake temperature. Our turbo is turning 54,000 RPMs right now. So, I mean, that's a good thing to do. You know, just to kind of check all this stuff so you know what it is. Because a lot of times, you know, like this after treatment stuff, 9 times out of 10 it's a sensor. Okay? You know, it's just there's a bunch of different stuff. You know, you can do, this will just tell us EGR and performance, you know, like if it's hard starts. So this will tell you if you had any hard starts, all that type of stuff. So we'll go back to this, and then we'll just let it go. But that's really, you know, all you do is just sit here. This thing will get hot as shit. You know, like our oil temperature is starting to come up. This will get up to about 225 degrees in our water temperature. Now the reason, I always do this before I change the oil. This one doesn't need to be changed. I just changed it at 69,000. So we got to go to at least 90. But, you know, you just watch that stuff and you'll see it coming up. You know, we're still dosing. Everything is good. So I'll come back here in a little bit once we get, you know, it more halfway done, and I'll show you what it does when it ends and what you want to do. Alrighty, now we're really starting to get some temperature in the thing. You can see it, it's up over, the intake is 1,000 degrees and the outlet is 992. See how there's only a 10-degree difference in that? That's really good considering that it's cold as shit outside. And also what you'll notice on the dash is that this little light comes on. If the light comes on below that, that means you have to regen it. But also what you'll notice is you'll start noticing a smell like burnt carbon. It'll kind of have a real odor to it. That's how you know it's really, you know, you're getting your thing clean. Alrighty, now the way that I look at these after treatment situations is that there is no downfall to doing this test. It doesn't hurt anything, it doesn't do anything. You know, the more you can do this, the better, you know, the regen system is going to work, because you keep everything clean, you don't let it get sooted up, you don't let all that stuff go. That's just my professional opinion. I've had really good luck doing this, just regenning these trucks all the time. You know, especially in the summertime, it's not as bad because the idle time is not very much, but now we're getting ready to go into, what do you call that? Well, we're going to be down hauling Poverty Rock down to the salt yard, and the trucks are going to sit there and idle in the morning, you know, and as the idle time gets really high, you want to do more manual regens, in my professional opinion. I have a truck with 140,000 miles on it. I've had zero fucking emission problems with it, but I'm constantly staying up on regenning these trucks. I firmly believe in just manually regenning them. You know, sometimes, you know, like I'll do it once a week. If the truck has high idle time, I will do it, you know, in the summer I do it about once a month per truck. So, you know, like, do that. And I always regen them right before I change the oil. I don't know, it's just a habit. It gets the oil nice and hot. You know, you can see that your oil temperature is coming up there good. And it lets it get all that nasty soot and all that stuff out of the oil, because the oil goes around and kind of cleans all the parts up, and, you know, you get your oil hot and it'll drain all that carbon off. That's just my opinion. But, you know, I think we got about another 40 minutes of this thing doing its thing, and then we should be done, and I'll show you how to exit out all this stuff, what to do in the truck to let it calm back down. You know, what you don't want to do is when it's regenning, just as soon as it stops, turn it off. You know, you're going to cook your fucking, you know, you're going to cook some bearings in the turbo and stuff. It's just too hot. So you got to let it come back down a little bit. Alrighty, you can see here that the, right here, that this thing is done. So what you want to do is come up here, exit out of that, exit out of that. Always check again, make sure you got no fault codes before you exit out of the thing. Looks like it's going to get ready to rain. It was nice here. Alrighty, start exiting and out of your ECM, you know. So that's pretty much how you do a manual regen on any type of Cummins truck. It doesn't matter what it is, but, you know, that's how you do it. Like I said, shit. You're going to need some type of scan tool on these. My Peterbilts, I can't figure out how to manually regen them just by hitting a button in here. I have never found that button. If anybody knows where that button is, put it down in the comment section. But, you know, any type of scan tool, Snap-on, Mac, Bosch, fucking whatever type of scan tool you got, factory hardware, just plug it in there, let it do its thing, and, you know, it'll make your process a lot easier. You know, you won't have so many regen type problems or DPF problems. That's been what it's been in my experience. But like always, check out Instagram, Patreon, Facebook, all that bullshit. And like always, thanks for watching, and I gotta fucking go.